Okay then everybody, this is Oak Tree Tarot Reader. This is my second video for my new channel. About sort of world events type readings or anything that interests me or you. If you want to leave me a comment for any kind of suggestion about what we could do a reading on, I'm open. I'm just sort of drawing the line at doing readings on people's private lives that are nothing to do with their public life. But no, today I'm going to do a reading on Brexit, which has happened technically. We left on the 31st of January, but we're still at a negotiation phase, and I thought it'd be interesting to do a reading on that to see how for the next few months negotiations are going on, considering the world's gradually getting locked down because of coronavirus. People aren't going out to work and all that. I did do, my first video is on coronavirus, so please have a look at that if you haven't already. Have a look at my other channel, Oak Tree Tarot Reader. I'll put the link. That's all pick a card videos in case you're interested in them. All the links to everything will be in the description box, and all the information you will need. But let's move on. I want to do Brexit. It's a big change in my country's history. It's a big redirection of our futures. I mean, I'm, fascinated in many ways about what's going to, it's the biggest change in my lifetime of the destiny of my country. So I am intrigued. So what I'm going to say is now, this is resonant for the next month or so. It's just a reading of now, and I'm reading it in the middle of March 2020. So it's all about what's happening now according to things as they are. A bit further into the future, things will change, and I'd have to do an updated reading if there was enough interest for it. But what I want to do now is look at how the negotiations are going. There's a lot in the newspapers and media and online, but you never know whether it's really true or just gossip or outright lies. Ooh, there's some level of success here with these negotiations. Bottom of the deck, which for me is extra information, we've got the Lovers, and in this deck, it's like Eve is offering the apple to Adam, which obviously caused a lot of trouble. But it feels to me that there is sort of negotiations, there is offering, there is an actual negotiation going, because it's always represented that there isn't an awful lot going on very well in these negotiations. So we've got the Six of Wands, the Four of Cups, and the Queen of Cups. So that speaks to me that the negotiations actually are going quite well. They're not going as badly as people think. But there are quite a few things that are just being chucked off the board. It's like, no, non-negotiable. We're not going to be able to move forward with that. They're reaching stalemate on some issues, and they're backing away and sort of pouring it and just writing that off. But I think emotions are sort of coming into play. I think people are being quite creative maybe in the negotiations, but also because it's the Queen of Cups, she is an emotional lady. She's very sensitive. She has emotional intelligence. She understands her emotions, but she is by far the most emotional queen. She will cry at sad things on TV. So I think there's a feeling here that there is emotions at play. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the meetings get quite heated. Yeah, I think they're progressing is what I would say. Healthy progression, that seems to me. How are the negotiations going to carry on, considering they can't meet up because of COVID-19? Yeah, I don't think they're going to be happening. I think they're going to be doing it all online. I don't think they're going to be meeting up. Grief. I think things that might not happen at all. They might be put on pause. Skype online, that speaks to me. World Wide Web. two sides meeting through online meetings. And I think they're going to be quite rigid and logical. So we had before that sense of feeling, now we've got a sense of logic coming through, following the rules. Because they're not there in person, it's going to change the dynamics, because they're going to be like doing conference calls and things like that. They're not going to have the issues that would come up in the meeting. I think there's going to be some things that are going to be not noticed, not missed. Because in here, this is the after tarot deck. The man there who's been grieving over the spilt cups, the lost opportunities, and he's missing the two behind him. There's somebody dragged in the river that's calling for help and they're not seeing. I think there might not even be any proper meetings. I think there might just be updates and discussions online and through telephone calls and things like that, rather than physically actually together. And I think they might just not even happen over the next month. I think they're just not going to happen at all, or even over the next couple of months. What will the longer term impact of COVID-19? These two want out. What will the longer term impact on COVID-19 be on the negotiations? I do want another one though, so I want 3. So I've got 2, I want 3. Oh, got 4. Let's see if these make any sense. Oh, it might work out well. For who though? There's still the Queen of Swords, there's still that logic, the strength. I think it's going to force them to restrain themselves, because it's massively cutting back on negotiation time. We are leaving towards the end of the year, in the autumn, I think, so far. It's going to manifest quite a few opportunities, make things happen, and sort of cause the nourishment of both sides, I think. I think it's going to do them good. Weirdly, it's going to do them good. There's 3 major arcanas there. Because they've had to focus on a much bigger issue than Brexit, I think it's going to take a lot of sting out of the tail of it. It's going to take a lot of the tension out. They haven't been able to meet up and wind each other up. Yeah, it's going to make them focus on just getting it done. Focus on not being emotional about it, but just getting it done. They want it done and dusted. There's a lot of more problems going on in Europe anyway. We won't list them here. Maybe if you're interested, I'll do some sort of readings on that. Just let me know. I want this over and done with. Oh, yeah. So, let's try and look a bit further into the future. This, I will add the caveat that the further into the future you go with tarot, the less reliable it is. And, there's high likelihood that this won't pan out. So what will the relationship be with European Union and Great Britain at the end of this year, at the end of 2020? Well, that one wanted out, but obviously not all these. Queen of Cups again. So tensions might rise back up. I think Britain's still going to be coughing up a bit to the European Union. I think there'll still be some sort of financial... I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on with the negotiations, but I think that there's still, by the end of the year, there's still some sort of exchange of money or exchange. I think we'll still be trading, but there'll be, as it's considered charity here. balancing out the books, but also of charity to somebody poorer. So somebody who actually is going to lose out on the Brexit is still going to have some sort of financial support for a bit. I think there might be a longer transition period than is expected, where some sort of financial supplements offered. But I think we're definitely going to be separated. The fish is out of the cup. I think the fish is Great Britain, and that lad there's the rest of Europe, like, oh, it's finally happened. Actually, I don't know if you can see, I'm still getting used to this angle. And I think we'll be gone completely. I think that the hangover period will probably be gone, but I think there'll be some sort of negotiation where there's still something, some sort of, for the businesses that are so interlinked with Europe. But I think there'll be tensions, particularly for the UK. We're now a rival, rather than being in the gang, we're on the out of the gang. So I think there'll be tensions over trade deals and such alike. I mean, I'm wondering who the blindfolded figure is that, maybe we won't see exactly at this moment in time how that's going to pan out itself, but there is a feeling here that we're still going to be a bit, we're financial rivals now. So I think that will start to come out a lot more at the end of the year, the fact that there is now a separate link. I mean, it's been my entire lifetime that we've been in Europe, and I think it's really going to start showing at the end of the year. So what's the UK itself as an entity going to be like by the end of the year, when this negotiation phase is supposed to be over? So, Temperance. 9 of Wands, Knight of Cups, 7 of Cups. I think it's going to be a bit better. I think it's like, we're at the end of a long negotiation phase that it's been a lot of work. It's taken a long time to get to this point. I think longer than anybody ever expected. But there's a lot of celebration in the sense that not everybody is very happy about this, I understand, but there's a feeling of opportunities, and that there's opportunities to be had now. That there's the rest of the world out there, and choices are being made, and decisions and deals are being made, and I think there's a lot about Britain going out there to try and schmooze the rest of the world, like, hey, selling Great Britain, cool Britannia and swinging 60s Britain and all that kind of stuff. I think there's going to be a resurgence of opportunities for trade deals and for opportunities, in the world, but also a desire to get out there and have fun and live and connect, to be abundant, which is the reason why a lot of people voted Brexit. They all had their own personal reasons, 17 odd million of them. But a lot of people wanted it because they wanted to connect to the rest of the world more, not just Europe. And I think that's going to really come through. So the European Union, what's that going to be like at the end of the year? Ooh. They've got 7 of Cups. So I think they've still got opportunities. I never believed in this idea that either the UK or the European Union would be both on their feet if we separated. I didn't buy into that. It's just going to be different. So I think the Page of Wands means that the European Union's got a different road to walk, that it's walking in a different direction, and it's not sure now. I mean, we were a big political force in it, and now it's got a different future. So I think it's trying to find that. And in a sense, we had that as well for Britain. They're still abundant, they still have everything they need, they're still wealthy, and have food on their table. But there's also a feeling here of being excluded. So there's like two contradictory images here of the Five of Pentacles, which is two beggars stuck out in the cold. This woman going off with all, you know, she's got her stuff. She's got no shoes. They're locked out from the warm church. You know, it's feeling that that's the warm church inside there. But two contradictory images of being abundant and being without. So I'm going to clarify both of those cards. Empress. So they're still in political power. Politically, they're still powerful, but it might be emotionally they feel left out in the cold. I think it's a big emotional change. I think there's a new future to be found, and they're not sure. I wonder whether something else might be going on in Europe at that time that's influencing it, and it's not to do with Brexit. That's possible. But this is to do with emotions. There's a cold emotion. So I'm leaning more towards it. There's still, you know, stability, still abundance, but there's something else going on, which I feel would be a different reading. But there's something that makes people feel a bit like, oh, what's happening a bit different in the world. But they're trying to balance that out emotionally, being emotionally intelligent about it. And they are. They're using their intelligence, their head and their heart. And there is abundance to be had. Something's, you know, being born. Has Brexit inspired other countries to try and leave the European? I have to be a bit mischievous and ask that. I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think that, you know, whoops. I think Europe will be fine. I think Britain will be fine. They'll just both be different. But has Brexit inspired any other countries to leave the European Union? King of Cups again. Bottom of the deck, the Lovers. This is coming up a lot. I'll in turn ask the question, has it made the European Union stronger? I think some are now exploring the possibility. It's been a radical idea for the European Union to accept that one of its member states wants to leave and has managed to leave. As they say, it's taken a lot of political will. It's destroyed political careers here in Great Britain in Parliament. It's made others, but it's destroyed quite a few political careers and obliterated the parties that opposed Brexit. Only the party that supported that initial referendum won the election. That was the Tory party. It was described as being punishing them in the polls, and it is, you know, however you voted, once the vote leave won, that was it. That's democracy, baby, and you got to respect it, otherwise chaos will reign. And the mere suggestion of so many political parties, Labour, the Greens, the Lib Dems, were actively campaigning to stop the implementation of that referendum. It was unbelievable, and they were decimated in the election. They lost tons of votes, they lost tons of seats, and the Tories won, who were the one party that said, get Brexit done, we will respect that vote, we will go ahead and do it. And, you know, it took them a while, but they did. So I think it's been a big change, you know, particularly for Britain politically, as we want, you know, understand what the people say is that you will respect the vote. But I think what it's done is it's caused some to want to work to complete something, to work together. But I think it has given others the idea that they could fly off. So I think some countries are going to be more assured that they're doing the right thing and to have ever closer union, and others are thinking maybe it's time for them to seek new opportunities elsewhere. So at this moment in time, there's the potential, I think, for the European Union getting smaller, but I wouldn't guarantee it. You know, if there's another country that holds another referendum, I would definitely do a reading on that. But so has the UK, Great Britain leaving the European Union caused it to be stronger? You know, has it been a good thing, result for the European Union? Has it been good for the European Union that the UK's left? Oh, something's flipped. The Devil card and the Star card. Let's see if we can get another. Oh, they all wanted to fly out. See, they all wanted out. Let's see. No, it's jumbled me. I want one card. There you go. I wanted one more card. It flew one out. Oh, I'm sure there was a card there that's flipped. No. Okay, we'll see. We'll find out at some point. I think it has. I think the wound is healing. I think it's caused the closer union. I think it's causing... I'm just intrigued again by... What always intrigues me about this Star card in this deck is that she's pouring over herself and she's pouring into the... But there's a separation there of energies. There's a successful separation of energies there. And I'm just wondering, again, this feeling that there's a two-tier, like there's a two... you know, ever closer union and those that can't do that. So there's a repeating theme there for me that will be interesting for us all to watch. I think there's going to be some level of confrontation. That there's the European Union going to defend what it stands for, what it wants, but there's new kids in the town that are sort of wanting to come and confront that and to address things and saying it's got to be different. When you remember the Devil card is as if it, you know, that it's unhealthy, it represents unhealthiness, where you can have small level of unhealthiness, but not too much. And this is a feeling of too much unhealthiness. So I think it's going to focus down, European Union could focus down one avenue far too much, and those that can't buy into it might split their energies. There might be a sense of a difference of opinion that causes a two-track European Union. But the energies are healing. It's coming to an end. Things are realigning politically because of the absence of one big member. And obviously they've got to change things of how they budget, you know, the income. Although we did see that maybe, I suspect Britain might end up paying a bit into the European Union, whether it's for a longer time or a shorter time or for whatever reason. Think of one more thing before we finish. I can have a cup of tea. I'm absolutely gasping now, so I want to sort of finish. Will Britain ever rejoin the European Union? It's triggering. Will Great Britain ever rejoin the European Union? That doesn't really give... I don't feel that gives me an answer. And the bottom of the deck, King of Pentacles. There's a choice to reconnect. That I think it's possible. I think we'll always have some sort of connection. There's lots of choices that will be looked at and celebrated. I'm going to say no, but it's possible. Because There's looking out into the world twice. There's looking out into the world and there's flying out into the world. There's lots and lots of choices. But the celebration's what made me hesitate, because there's a celebration here. But now I'm looking at it, it's the celebration between three. So it could be Great Britain, European Union, the rest of the world. I think that we're going to have a connection with them forever. But I don't think we'll join the European Union as a full member again. I think that's happened. And that there will be a new financial existence. Like, we'll have different trade and trade deals, and we'll trade differently. And I think it will mean that there'll always be some sort of conflict there. I think personally, outside of tarot, I think it was never going to last. You know, looking at it objectively and knowing what I know now, I don't think Britain was ever going to stay in the European Union long term. I think it was an inevitability. I think it's just keeps coming back. What have I missed about the Seven of Cups then? What have I missed? Oops. What have I missed about the Seven of Cups? It keeps coming back to the King of Pentacles. I think the wealth is elsewhere now. Yeah, it's done. I think it's done. My inkling was towards that, but I try not to let what my initial instincts tell me. I try to focus on what the cards are saying and then not try to, shoehorn what I think into a reading, because that's wrong. You've got to read what the cards say. Yeah. Sailing, moving on, hopping from one foot to the other. I think there'll always be people that want us to go back into it, but I think the opportunities are elsewhere at the moment. Like, I can't read for 40 years down the line. It might change then. Who knows what the world will be like then. But I think basically, no, that's done. It's time to rebuild outside. And I think if there's anything else I've missed. Devil again. I think we'll get over it. I think we'll still have a good political relationship with the rest of Europe. What will cause the healing between Britain and the rest of Europe? Oops. I think we'll both be financially abundant, but somebody's been sneaky and not told everything, been a bit cunning for their own advantage. They're about to get caught out, so we'll interesting to see who that side is. They're just about to get caught. And with that catching, there's a release there. Somebody comes along to it, so here's the truth, let me just tell you what the truth is and unbind you, and now we can get you out of the bind that you've been in. And then there's a connection. So I think it will all be made up because of this truth. It's sort of everything's come out, it's all accepted, it's all known. The bonds are broken and there's a voluntary connection here. I suspect together with Europe, but it could be the rest of the world. I think something's going to come out, and then it's like the scales will come down from people's eyes almost, and they can sort of be free to move on, and then new bonds will be created. So I think it will be a different and better relationship than the one that Britain and European Union has had together, but something's going to come out before that, and then that will be the triggering point to sort of heal the division. So healing will it be achieved once some truth comes out and is seen, and then it sort of releases one or other side. The deceived person is going to get freed, so they can leave the Circle of Swords and make up. And a good economical relationship, a good financial relationship between the two, which I like the sound of. So I must go and make a cup of tea. I'm gasping. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's a very new channel. It's only the second video. getting small amount of figures, but I'm hopeful that the channel will grow. So please like, share, subscribe. Please leave me some comments. Give me some suggestions on international issues, global political issues, so on, that you would like me to have a look at. And if you haven't already, have a look at my other channel. All the links and everything will be in the description box. So you take care of yourself. Thanks for listening to me, and goodbye.